How are you doing?
Good. You?
Nice. I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little bit under the weather. I have like a
You got something
bit of a
going on.
stuffy nose.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did this
I'm
whole,
all good in that department too, which is crazy considering I have two kids and they usually bring shit home from school.
yeah, they are literally the ones who spread it.
They
I
are
blame the kids for all the
germ
colds.
magnets. I blame them for everything.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome. Chelsey, thank you for taking some time to join me
Yeah.
here in Vancouver.
No, honestly, thank you. I
And,
really appreciate it. Yeah.
and yeah, and like thank you for reaching out to the radio station at BCIT to say, "Hey, thanks for playing my tunes."
Yeah,
Because that
yeah. I
normally
went
doesn't
through
happen very often.
I honestly I went through some training last year about this. I was in this little music program and they were like, radio stations really appreciate when you do that. And I was like, cool, let's do it. Like
Right?
I would have known, I think, but it is really cool when a small radio station plays your stuff because it's like, how did you even find it and
Yeah.
what made you care? And like
That's
I
just
really appreciate it.
randomly like I find where I'll have like 2, 3, 4 hour chunks of time where I'm like, yeah, let's actually look and listen to every song that came into DMDS, you know? Like let's
Oh,
look and
that's
actively
crazy though.
find good music. And I think that
That's actually,
that's kind of
yeah.
what's missing in radio lately, you know?
Well, bravo to you because
Yeah.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
It's like a lot like to listen to all that all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot to keep up for sure. And
Hmm.
but it's a campus radio station, so it's not like
Yeah.
there's nothing truly riding on like we need success. Not that that means I almost find it where I want to make sure that people are hearing bands or artists and stuff that don't normally
Yeah.
get played. I
Yeah.
want to make
Okay.
sure that people are hearing the things like, and maybe it's an indie band, or maybe it's just, I don't know, somebody that made a really good record in their living room. Like, why shouldn't they
Yeah.
get as
I
much
mean,
consideration as like a Foo Fighters or do you know what I mean? Like, why shouldn't they?
yeah, it's true. As long as it's good music, it sounds good.
Yeah,
Like, why not? I'm with you.
yeah. And where did you grow up?
So I'm actually from a very small town, 2 hours east of Toronto. It's called Campbellford.
Okay.
So that's where I grew up. Yeah.
So did they have a scene? Like as you're growing up as a kid, was there a scene?
Oh no, 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 no. My town was 3,500 people. It's like a hamlet.
So where would you
Um,
go then? Like
mm,
you have to go to Toronto? Or where would the first scene be?
yeah, I did actually. Yeah, for many years I went to Toronto starting from the age of about 15. I was lucky that my parents could actually afford to take me there and pay for lessons in Toronto and stuff like that. Which is what I did. I studied in Peterborough for many years with the lovely chap Rob Phillips.
Hmm,
And then I started training with a vocal coach out of Toronto when I was, I think, 15 or 16, something like that. I switched. And that's kind of how it all started. And I sort of had my sights set on Toronto for a while and applied to a bunch of schools in different cities and countries. And then I went to Humber for a bit in Toronto for vocal jazz. And then, this is where I stayed. For the most part, I have moved out of Toronto and come back, but yeah.
okay, so you're fairly young then, kind of getting into the scene, like 15, 16. That's pretty young.
Yeah, it was it was kind of crazy because as soon as I could get my license when I was 16, I was driving myself to Peterborough, which was about a 45-minute drive for me, to host a Thursday night jazz jam in
No way.
Peterborough when I was
Nice.
16. I
That's
was really
amazing.
singing. Yeah, I wasn't like necessarily calling people up and doing the hosting duties. My piano player mostly did that, but I was the singer, I was like doing the jazz tunes, playing the standards. It was a really good experience for me.
That's cool. So who shaped your ear early on and who's shaping it now?
So early on, I actually trained with my aunt. That's the thing I forgot to mention before. My
She's like, yeah,
aunt, Donna
thank you
Bennett.
for bringing that up. Yeah.
know. She's an opera singer. So
Oh,
I
no
did
shit.
opera or like, yeah, music theater opera for the first few years from, 13 to 15 kind of thing. And I realized pretty quickly like opera was just not for me. Love her. She's an incredible teacher. But I like throughout my preteen teens, I was always listening to hip hop and R&B, and I really loved Christina Aguilera, and I loved Spice Girls, and I loved Usher. And so I really wanted to take another route, but I knew that it wasn't pop. And so when I tried to explain that, my dad put me in touch with this guy in Peterborough, Rob Phillips, who was a jazz piano player, and then it was just jazz. It was like, okay, I actually love jazz. And I really dove into that for the next, I don't know, decade, basically. Um, and then school, and then I would say when I started writing my own music, my influences became some of the best songwriters and people who inspired me, like Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, and more modern artists like Anderson .Paak or Robert Glasper, um, even Leanne LaHavis or Emily King or Charlotte Day Wilson, who is also Canadian. I'm not sure if you're familiar. She's doing really well in the scene right now. Yeah, I would say that's a little bit of a mix of the old and a little mix of the today.
Mhm. Am I off base when I say like your sound is very complimentary to bands like Massive Attack, Morcheeba, Portishead, Zero to
Cool.
Seven?
I mean,
Am I
I
am
love
I
that
getting to
music.
where you're trying to get to, or you want to be? Like you want to live
I
in that
would say
world, or
the only difference for me is that I'm a little more jazz influenced, right? So
sure,
like I like I like instrumental solos here and there. I like a little bit more complexity in the chordal structure of songs and like some more surprises. I love those bands that you just mentioned. They're like
great band.
the
Yeah.
best of the best. If I went in that direction, that would be cool too. I at the moment I'm still sitting in the jazz meets R&B meets soul meets hip hop kind of world, I would say.
And how many and I'm sure you're probably like, dude, they're all fucking serious, but how many serious bands or projects were you in before you get to say Blue?
Um, Honestly, I've worked on my own project the most, and I went by my original or by my given name, say Chelsey Bennett. Wow,
Right.
tired. My real name is Chelsey Bennett. So I put out an EP as Chelsey Bennett first,
Okay.
and that's the first time I really took something seriously, I would say, is in high school, I was in kind of like a rock band, like a Paramore style,
Oh,
band. But it wasn't for me. I'm not a rock singer.
yeah.
I discovered that through that process. It was really fun. And then I took Chelsey Bennett seriously with that EP, and then it was kind of like, okay, I'm ready to finally like set myself apart. I really want a brand that I can stand behind and something that feels authentically me. And that's how I started Seyblu. And then obviously it's just been like Seyblu's been the main serious project.
hmm and talk about how important it was for your dad's introducing you to Rob Phillips. How important was that for you to have the support of your parents and your family, or would have you just done it regardless?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm really lucky that there's a lot of professional musicians in my family. They're all classical for the most part. So the jazz world to them was like, what? Are you just going to be like really broke playing in bars for the rest of your life? Like, what is the future here?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of I guess just like worry for my sake, but support nonetheless. So I'm pretty lucky. I think hard to say. I think I would have done it anyway, but it would have taken me longer to take it seriously. And I'm lucky that even at 16 they trusted me to like take the car to Peterborough and back and let me just kind of do all of the work that I did with Rob for many years like by myself. I just kind of discovered jazz through Rob and with his support. And my parents were like, all right, I don't know, it seems to be going okay. So
Yeah.
if she's happy, we're happy.
That's super cool. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
clearly it's a musical house as a kid. Like what are your parents playing? I know you kind of just ripped through a few artists that you found and you liked, but what were they playing around the house?
My dad was from the musical side of the family, and his siblings, a lot of his siblings are professional. I have a conductor uncle, and my aunt's an opera singer. My other uncle's a composer. But the thing in my house was always my mom would do more like what was on the radio, I would say. She was pretty chill about kind of whatever was happening at the time, like sonically in in the culture. And
Yeah.
my dad was like, turn the radio off. I can't stand that. I need cool something from like Africa. Play me some global music. And my dad would hunt for music that was like more, I would say, global and soulful, which I really liked too. I'd say they they didn't really appreciate my taste in R&B at the time, like the Christina Aguileras and the Destiny's Child. Like they were like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, okay, we can handle it," but they weren't fans. And so I think, yeah, it was a combination of the classical influences being played in the house from like our connection to our relatives. And then it was like my dad's interest in global sounds and anything that came along with that. And then just, the radio in the car, honey. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's great. And so were they actively pulling you to shows? Like were you seeing a bunch of shows and concerts as a kid, or when did that kind of start for you?
Yeah, a little bit. My parents weren't huge on going to like a lot of live shows necessarily, but they were really big on traveling. So, when my a lot of like my cousins and stuff, I grew up with a lot of like relatives nearby, and they were getting like really cool video games for Christmas and like new clothes, and my parents were like, we're not going to give you anything like that, but we'll take you on a trip and we'll go see something. And they would take us to Europe, and they took us to South Asia, and they took us to South America, and like they really loved to travel.
Damn.
So,
I would take that
yeah,
anyway
that
over
was
over random gifts,
yeah. Well,
teach me
at the
about the
time,
world. Like, yeah, right? So
yeah, at the time I was like, man, I just want to see a cool movie. And my parents were like, no, we're we're going to France. It's like, oh, okay, but I'm grateful now, obviously. It's been like something I look back on and I say, wow, like the courage my parents had to do that was
yeah,
pretty cool. So,
that's incredible. Yeah. And what
and
was
then,
the first?
we would see live music, yeah, along the way, but not a ton. We went to I remember the one show I do really remember was Philosopher Kings.
Oh,
I re We went to Philosopher Kings and I loved it. I was like 12, I think. And I was like, that was the best show ever. Like, it was so fun. So, yeah.
what was it about that show? Like, when you think back to that, what was it about that day?
I think it was the energy they brought. Like, they were so happy to be there. They were just having such a good time on stage. They brought so much positive energy to the crowd, and it just felt like everyone was there for it. Like, everyone was just there to accept it, and they were down for the cause. I
Yeah,
loved that.
that's killer. And so, where do your songs usually start? Like, is it like, I don't know, a bedroom demo kind of thing, or is it like something that you just can't shake, whether that's the, melody or
Mhm.
like, how does it typically start for you?
I've done a lot of these challenges called Song a Day for a Month, and in the pandemic I did them over the course of 3 years. I did them like 6 times or something.
Oh,
And it's like every single day you're waking up and you're just writing. So what I learned about myself in that experience is that it can come in so many different ways every single day if you're just open to it. Maybe it's a melody one day that's just stuck in your head and you keep singing it over and over again in your head.
mm,
Or maybe it's just a phrase you hear and you think of the words and the way that those words could be fit into a melody. I'm a very like melody heavy person, I would say. I prioritize melody over a lot of other elements in a song. Um, and then I would start sometimes even with just a rhythm. And I love producing. So I produce my own demos just like for fun.
Oh, cool.
It helps me, get a sense of the song. So sometimes I would start just with producing and I would open Logic and I would just start throwing stuff in. Like, I don't know, I like the sound of this weird synth bass, or I like the sound of this guitar loop. I'm going to throw the guitar loop in and see how I feel over that. And then, sometimes melodies don't come right away and it takes a little bit of jamming by myself. And then I play piano, of course. So like anything that starts on piano is pretty comfortable for me. Like if I can find a little chord structure that feels good, and then I can go with that. But it really does come from so many different places. And then most recently, I would say, because I haven't been writing as much recently, and I'm trying to make more time for that, is just sitting at the piano and actually working it out.
Mm,
That's it's like the resilience of the songwriter that I admire who can do that. The person who can just sit down almost every day and say, it's fine, whatever comes out, comes out. And so
interesting.
that's what
It's
I'm
like
working on
writer's
right now.
block. You're like, no, no, I'm not having a writer's block. I'm actually gonna write. I think I saw Billy Joel once talk about that, where the
Wow.
interviewer had said like, "Do the songs just kind of pour out of you?" And he's like, "No, no, God, no. I need to like sit in front of it. I slave at these songs in front of the piano." Do you kind of sometimes feel like
Mhm.
that too?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Like lately it's been really tough because I'm so busy and I have a lot of projects. And the times in my life when I was able to do the song a day for a month just felt so much more open and free. So like so much would flow and I have like these little curves of like it gets really tough and then I have to work through it and it gets easy again. It gets really tough and then it gets easy again. And I have them over the course of the month, like around day 8 or 9 gets tough, and then around like 15, 17 gets tough. Day 24, I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm so done. But then, as long as you can just like get something out, even if you hate it, almost guaranteed the next day won't be as hard. So, yeah, how it goes.
interesting. And so, what's something that you've learned over the your time in the industry that's kind of surprised you?
I would say I get surprised a lot, and the most recent thing has been just how much of this business is based on relationships.
Yeah.
It's kind of a blessing and a curse. It's a beautiful thing in a way because you can build these incredibly strong bonds with people where like they can change your life. Like truly, if you can make relationships with people who are willing to help you. And it's also tough because you can be as talented as ever and as long as you don't have those relationships, you're not gonna, you're gonna have a really difficult time making a go.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that surprised me, the amount of the whole thing that's just based on relationships.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you had a guy like me across the country in every market.
Yeah. And I mean, the process of getting to know people like you is really rewarding. It's like, okay, if you're there, then there could be another one of you somewhere else. And that's
Oh,
like, okay,
100.
I'm maybe,
Yeah.
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 It's like I'm not an island. Like there are people out there who are listening, and it's really comforting for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah. And what does success actually look like to you right now?
I think success for me is being able to write more frequently than I am because I love writing. I feel like a songwriter almost first, maybe.
Mm,
Like a performer and a songwriter at the same level, maybe, but I feel like I could just write music every day of my life.
no kidding. Would you feel just as
Then,
fulfilled if you wrote for other people and not necessarily sang it yourself? Like a
yeah,
like a
definitely.
Neil Diamond back in like in his early years, he was
Yeah.
writing for people, but he didn't like the way that they were performing them. That's why he started singing his own shit.
Right.
Like
Right.
you
That's
feel
funny.
like you would be just as fulfilled if you didn't have Say Blue? If you didn't jump on stage, would you still feel that?
I think I I think I would to a degree. I would probably just perform them for myself anyway. Like I would just book little shows, even if like so few people came, I would probably just perform them anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Love performing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's got to be one
but
of the best things. Like when you get and you can connect with
yeah.
somebody, you lock eyes even for that split second and you feel like what you're doing to the room. It has to be like, I can't even put it into words how cool it has to be.
Yeah, it's like a drug, right? Like it's addictive. It's so exciting and meaningful. It feels like you're actually making a difference.
Yeah.
Whereas songwriting can feel a bit that way, but obviously you just don't know where that song is going and you have no clue who it's going to affect. And you don't always, you're not there to see it or experience it. So it's a hope and a prayer. But the only other thing I will say is that this year for me is my focus is doing more shows. And gosh, would love to come to Vancouver. I'm not sure if I can make it work this year, but I want to just be doing more shows all over Canada. That's the goal.
What do you normally play in a year, do you think? You're like 50, 100 shows? What do you normally play?
I this last year I didn't perform very much because I was finishing my album and it was just so intense. And I also have another project, which is a music festival called Chai and Jam, just in Toronto here.
Oh,
And so Chai and Jam, I'm a founder and a curator, but I also perform at that. And so yeah, just between this and that, like it's been so intense. But in the times in my life when I've been the most busy, it would be like two, three shows a week for most
oh,
of the year. But that was back when I was doing jazz and like I did the standards and I just booked all the shows everywhere. So now it's more like once a month, twice a month, and in a busier month, like four times a month.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I want to get outside of music with you, though. I want to get to know you a little bit here. So,
Sure, I'm
hit,
here for it.
all right. So, hit us with the like. What are you binge watching when you find time? What are the shows that you're like so good? I can't get enough of this show. What are you
That's
watching?
hilarious. Oh goodness. Well, I haven't been watching a lot of TV recently, but I do a combination of things. My partner and I watched Heated Rivalry recently, as it goes. We watched we watched Parks and Recreation.
Yes.
Just consistently. We just watched that because we haven't watched the whole thing yet. We're just slowly going through it.
Mhm.
And then on my own time, I have never seen before The Wire. So I decided to watch that from the beginning, and I'm on season three.
Oh,
And I
this
just
is
kind of,
so good. It is so
yeah,
good, right?
I think it's the best show ever. It's the best show I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
It is such a
So I'm
great
loving
show.
that. My partner's already seen The Wire, so he's like, you do it, you watch it. And
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's kind of, I mean, sometimes I pick up old shows and sometimes I watch whatever's hot.
Yeah, fair. And when you start to rabbit hole something, like you're jumping on YouTube or wherever, what is it that you kind of like get stuck and pulled into?
Oh gosh, this is gonna sound so boring, but I when I deep dive on stuff, it's like home decor.
Yeah.
I hate to even say it out loud. It sounds so boring. Home decor. I love architecture. I love looking at people's homes. I just love seeing the way a home can come together and the way that we design our spaces. I'm like obsessed with that whole thing.
Yeah, same.
I
I got
love
stuck
I
the other
love
day watching, I don't know if you do it or not, but you need to get into I don't remember the show specifically what it's called, but it's the small homes where there's like I don't know 320
oh,
square
tiny
feet,
homes.
but the house looks amazing.
I love
Those are so
those.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so in like you have to have such a you have to really know architecture and know the way to create space in order to make those things work. I love that.
Yeah, same.
And the other I love reality TV. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I will binge like a Love is Blind season.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I'm not above it.
All right.
Um, and the other like thing that I love is interviews. I love all types of interviews.
Mm,
Um, I'm obsessed with people who interview other people. I think it's great. I don't know why. I just always have. So yeah, I don't know. I watch all the big interview people. Goodness, I can't even think of the one right now. I'd have to check my phone. Like, what's the one that I've been listening to? I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like,
really?
I think I'm subscribed to like 115 podcasts or
Oh,
something.
shit.
So yeah,
You're
I
like,
think that's it. Yeah, and
awesome. And
music. I mean, I love hearing the process for artists, like people who are interviewing artists and getting to know what they're doing. I love that stuff.
yeah, are you the same regards to like when you read? Are you a fiction, nonfiction, or will you rip into like a ton of autobiographies, or what do you do for that?
Oh, I wish I read more. I find it now, especially in the last 5 years, really tough to make time to read.
Yeah.
Um, but the last few books that I've read are nonfiction. I think that's generally the category I go for. Like, there's this book called The Art of Gathering that I recently read by Priya Parker, and I'm a big fan of hers. And it's just all about the ways that people gather and how to make gatherings work and make them applicable to your specific scenarios. It was a really beautiful book. I bought this massive cookbook called Fat, Acid, Salt, Heat recently, and it's like half how to cook and half recipes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the first half you just have to read like a book, and it's phenomenal. It made me a better cook, 100%.
I was
She's
gonna say,
like
are you a good
summoned
cook because of it? Like, I love cooking. If it was for
honestly,
broadcasting, cooking,
I'm a
100.
good cook.
Yeah,
I'm a good cook because for real,
yeah.
changed my cooking life.
What's
Yeah,
your
I
go-to
think
if you're having friends over? Like, what are you gonna do to impress?
ooh, I have a few go-tos. I have this like incredible layered dip. And it's like I'm gonna get the order wrong and maybe some of the amounts, but basically it's like hummus, sour cream. It's like there's a tapenade of some kind, like you do like an olive thing, like sun-dried tomatoes, and then you top it with like parsley and a bunch of other things. There's like 10 10 ingredients. You put them all in a layer. But if you do the amounts correctly, oh, people are like licking the plate. I've brought it to three different gatherings, both family and friends, and they love it. That's
Yeah,
like my go-to.
I love it. And are you a big sports person? Like, did you watch much of the last Olympics last month and a half ago, 2 months ago, whatever it was? No.
No, I wish I was. I'm really not. I have a friend now who is she's an ex WNBA player, and she brought me to a Raptors game recently, which was so amazing. I really do love watching basketball. But I wouldn't say that I have watched a lot of basketball in my life. When I was growing up, my brother was a hockey player.
Okay.
We would watch hockey, but I never really watched any other sports. In the pandemic, I took up tennis a little bit, so I started watching tennis a little bit too.
Oh,
Um, and so that was fun. Like I do like those sports, and I'll tune in on the finals, but I don't really follow.
yeah, fair enough. And what was it about tennis? Why did you get it? Like, who? How did that happen? That's random.
A friend of mine, and we were both like, man, this sucks. Like, you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. Like, this bubble thing is so lame.
Yeah.
So the tennis courts were open and they were busy. And so we were like, let's just try. Let's just like pick up a couple rackets. Let's try this thing out. And then we ended up playing like every single morning together. It was like there's just nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. And I played straight for like 2 years every summer, like hardcore. And then I learned how to play a little bit. Like I wasn't great. And my partner actually, he used to teach kids tennis when he was like a teenager.
Oh, no way.
So he would come to some of our things and like give us pointers to make us a little bit better. But yeah, it was really fun. It's such a fun sport. I kind of hurt my shoulder as the
Uh-oh.
story goes.
Yeah, of course you did.
But yeah,
Of course you did.
yeah.
I'm going to respect your time and I'll hit you with two more questions.
Okay, sure.
Um, First one's not necessarily a question. I want you to share a near death story with us where you're like, holy shit, I could have just died.
Oh, wow.
Do you have one?
Goodness. Okay, do I have one? I do. Okay. So my parents are crazy. They took us to Spain, and my dad and my brother are both like really avid hikers. My brother just hiked one of the biggest mountains in South America, and it was like a 30-day hike, and it's, one of the highest altitudes, like all this stuff. It was crazy. I can't remember the name of the mountain, but heavy duty stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to Spain. My dad was like, I found this crazy hike. I think it's going to be amazing. It's like apparently a bunch of people have died on the way, and it's got like these like rope barrier things that you have to hold on to, but they're barely connected to the mountain and stuff. And we're like, what are you talking about?
Seems fairly
And
dangerous,
so
man. Yeah.
so dangerous. And then we went, and the crazy part is my dad didn't go up because he was like, okay, this is mental. I can't do this. And one of the very first steps on the whole thing was to walk across these metal pipes, basically, that were like sticking out of this rock. It was all rock. It like kind of looked like Sedona, right? It was just like complete dry desert rock kind of mountain um, pathways. And then you had to literally walk like, across these things like this, sticking out of the mountain. And it was like I don't know, 50 foot, 100 foot drop. Like it was so high.
It was death below, death below.
Death below. And yeah, multiple times we were walking across this thing, and like we were slipping on the rocks and stuff because it was so hard, and we were just holding on to these little wires that were like on the side of the mountain across the whole thing. It felt incredibly dangerous, and at any moment if we fell, we could have died, and I really felt it in my body. And I think there was like a little loop basically around the side of the mountain where you were walking on like a one person, footpath. And I think I did the loop with my mom and my sister. Can't remember if my brother was there actually. I think he was there. I think he did it too. And I hated it. I was like, I can't believe I agreed to do this. What am I doing? This was crazy. I think I was like 17 at the time. That was that was not good. I
And I
was really
love
scared.
how your
Especially
dad
looking
sets it up but doesn't actually partake.
Yeah, no. I know. This is the thing. This guy researched this whole thing, brought us all there, and then dipped. I'm like, all right.
Damn. Damn, damn.
Yeah. I think that's really the only other thing that happened in my life was when I was in South Africa with my parents again on another dicey hike, and I fell. But like the scary part was just that we had just finished visiting all of these massive holes in the earth in South Africa. They were like 100-foot holes, and we went on this extremely safe place just to look at them.
Hmm.
They had barriers and all the things. And the next day we went on a separate hike by ourselves, just on this like, this place that has a path, whatever. And I fell down the ridge into like a water kind of like creek. But my mom freaked out. She was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know if you were gonna leave
Yeah.
us." Like we didn't know how far down it was because we couldn't really see. And my mom also fell on that trip. She actually fell. We were just like walking, and she fell through the ground.
No.
We also didn't know how far down she fell. Luckily, it was only about like 15 feet, and she fell in a bit of water as well. But woo, that trip. That was a scary trip too.
Holy shit, you're lucky to make it out of your teens, it sounds like.
This is it. This is it. Me and my hiking parents, they're so crazy.
That is crazy. All right. The toughest I'll ask you only because it's about career highlights. So
Okay.
can you pick if I was like, you can only have one career highlight, what is it?
I think this is an easy one for me right now because I just had one. It was really special. Last month or in February, me and my co-founder of our music festival, Chai and Jam, his name's Hashil. I'll just call him Hashil. And Hashil and I had the opportunity to curate one of our concerts at the Lincoln Center in New York, and we were invited to go and play and sing and perform. And so we did a show at David Geffen Hall. It's like this beautiful 2000 soft seat theater. And it was surreal because the day before, the New York Philharmonic, that's where they usually play, they were like tearing down and they were setting up our stage for Chai and Jam. We were like, this is
Duh.
just so surreal and so special. And the show itself was amazing. It was a life-changing experience for sure.
Love it. And so what's the rest of your 2026 looking like?
This year, I have more visuals coming out for the songs off of my album that came out at the end of last year. I have more shows coming up and more Chai and Jam series, which I'm super excited about. We have bigger artists and bigger venues, really beautiful places for that, and potentially a new release at the end of this year. We'll see.
Oh, nice.
And so that's really it.
That's
Yeah.
cool. And so where should people follow you? Where are you most active online?
I'm the most active on Instagram, but as of the last year, I've been keeping my TikTok pretty up to date as well.
Oh shit,
Uh,
TikTok. So you know all like the you know all the dances and shit?
I know, I know all the dances now. Yeah, yeah. No, luckily, I don't. The dances are not for me, but I'm there in other musical capacities.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
Um, and so yeah, Instagram and TikTok. I do have a newsletter. Would love if people wanted to join that. I only send out a newsletter maybe once every few months just to give people the updates,
A cool
the
update.
big
Yeah.
updates.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah, Seyblu.com.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Todd. I appreciate it.
Super
This
cool
was
to meet you. I
really
love
nice.
your music. I played a lot around the house and try to
Sweet.
get my wife into it and my kids and everything. So,
I
yeah, look,
appreciate it. You're
nice
doing
job
the
with your
good work.
music. Thank you for reaching out. I'll tag you when we're chucking this stuff around online.
Yeah, great. I'd love to share some clips of this if I can, and I'll tag you in them. And I
Perfect.
really appreciate it. Thanks so much for the support.
You bet. Have a great day.